Yeah, James said he was going to see the Packers win 7 of their last 8. MJD thinking otherwise. Time to give that NFC playoff picture an ocular pat down. And despite the head-to-head win, the Saints one less win than the Rams, hence that number 2 ranking. But in their last 8 games, New Orleans winners by a combined total of 106 points. That's big. Time now to check in with James Palmer with the latest on the Saints ahead of Sunday.
Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas has now put himself among the ranks of the best wide receivers in football, leading the NFL with 78 catches on just 87 targets. He's catching 90% of the balls Drew Brees throws to him. And Thomas and Brees talked about it this week, saying that it goes back to when they trained together in San Diego, and it's almost second nature, Thomas said, when Sunday rolls around. Brees said that he's one of the more competitive players he's been around. When he gets in the zone, he gets almost uncoverable. With the Eagles, look for Sidney Jones, who's coming off the hamstring injury, missed the last 3 games, to finally play on the outside and potentially line up against Michael Thomas and show the Eagles that he could be that guy, that star that they believe could be emerging at the quarterback spot with Jalen Mills and Ronald Darby out for this game.
James Palmer, thank you. True professional. And Eagles rush defense versus that Saints rush offense. The Saints, they scored 40 or more in 5 games this season. The offensive numbers, they're supporting the facts. But Philly, they have yet to allow an opponent to crack that 30-point barrier. But Saints offensive tackle, Tron Armstead, he's going to be out Sunday. So MJD, how can the Eagles lock up the Boudin brothers, Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram?
Cole, listen, I mean no disrespect by this. I understand. Eagles going into the Dome down to the New Orleans. I was there. It's crazy to play that the Saints offense is on fire. So it's not about that defense trying to stop that running game because they're going to score points. It's about that offense and Carson Wentz lighting it up. You have to throw the ball. You haven't been able to run the ball that well. Saints defense has been doing a great job against stopping the run. So it's all on Carson Wentz. You were drafted number 2 for a reason. You were in the MVP race for a reason. Don't let these guys keep eating. I love the Saints. Food's great down there, but we don't need them to keep running.
All right, let the good times roll in the Crescent City. Thank you, MJD. And how about Week 10, 2017? A week Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott would love to forget. Sacked 8 times in the 27-7 loss, and it was the most sacks by a Falcon defensive unit since Week 4, 2005. But old Mr. Prescott, he isn't dwelling on the past. He's looking towards the future.
That game wasn't pretty. As you said, you can turn on that tape and see from any aspect that game wasn't pretty. That's not something that I guess I want to speak on what it did to this team and this team's confidence. I mean, I know we're confident. It's a whole new year, so I'm not really worried about last year's game.
All right, so a vast improvement for Dak over the last 3 weeks, and the uptick in production possibly coming from that addition of Amari Cooper after Week 8. Now, Prescott substantially better in every significant category. So, Rod Woodson, Hall of Famer, how can Dak keep it rolling versus the Falcons on Sunday, man?
Cole, the Cowboys are playing against a defense that is dead last in almost every, not dead last, but the bottom 3 in almost every major category on defense. So he is playing extremely well. 260 yards in the air, 68% completion rate. Amari Cooper has really helped this football team really create separation from the DBs, and he's taking advantage of that. But at the end, Maurice, you still got to feed Zeke. Feed Zeke. You guys can win on the road in a hostile environment in Atlanta, Cole.
Yep, 20 carries usually is the golden.
Okay.
There we go. Stick a fork in.
I don't know. Yeah, feed him. Just
okay.
Feed him.
There we go. Now, how about let's get you in the know when it comes to injuries. Of course, an unfortunate part of the business. Sammy Watkins did not practice. Of course, that foot, the lingering issue there, his game status will be available Saturday. Joe Bosa, questionable as well. Check out NFL.com for their latest. As for A.J. Green and Joe Flacco, both doubtful. Green with some side work on Friday, while Flacco has not practiced all week. So with that being said, let's turn our attention to our NFL media insider, Ian Rappaport. You know him as Rap Sheet. And Rap, what's a contingency plan at the quarterback position for John Harbaugh and those Baltimore Ravens Sunday?
Well, it's pretty clear, Cole, the Ravens do not believe that Joe Flacco is going to be their starter, despite the sort of tongue-in-cheek optimism from Coach John Harbaugh that Flacco's recovery has been miraculous. Not so much. He is not going to play, obviously, on Sunday. So here's what they have going for them. RG3, who has been inactive for every single game this year, is going to be active, and I would not be surprised at all if he ended up playing. He's certainly a more experienced, a more complete quarterback than Lamar Jackson is at this point. And then, of course, you do have Jackson, the rookie, who missed Thursday's practice with an illness. Obviously, unfortunate timing there, but they have been mixing him into the offense in different ways all throughout the season. I would expect his production and his playing time to be ramped up as well. All that being said, don't be surprised on Sunday if you see both of these quarterbacks taking the place of Joe Flacco.